Sure, it actually matters that I talk into this microphone. Everybody can hear me okay? It does matter. Okay.
Yes, it does.
All right. The radio people are very adamant about this. Okay. So my name is Gavin DeVore Leonard. I'm the state director of One Ohio Now, a tax and budget policy coalition, over 100 health and human service, labor and advocacy partners. There's more information about our organization in our report. Everything working okay? So welcome. Thanks so much for being here this morning. I wanted to do a release of our second annual State of Ohio 2017 report. This has been a labor of love for the past 2 years. I want to make sure I start by saying thank you to my colleague Nick Bates, who did a huge bulk of the work on this report, pulling together and aggregating a lot of this information and then helping get it all into one place. For those of you that saw this report last year, you have a sense that this is really a report of reports. There are really different reports coming out every single day about a wide range of issues around our state. And what we felt like was lacking in this report landscape, if you will, was something that sort of looked at the big picture to say, here's what's happening overall in our state. And we felt like in the run-up to the State of the State address, this was a particularly timely moment to release this report. We did it just before the State of the State address last year and are doing it this year at the same time, and we anticipate putting out this report on an annual basis with updated information. You'll note that we have used essentially the same metrics throughout, with one additional metric this year around infrastructure, because we felt like that was one key category that was important to add. Although you also notice that there is not a ranking in that category, simply because the way the data comes out, it doesn't suit itself to being in that same ranking fashion. So today I'm just going to, I want to make some brief remarks to give you a sense of what we're doing today. We have two speakers that are with us today that are going to help share some stories and some context on some of these components to help give some life and some context to this big picture report. So today with us we have Ashon McKenzie, the policy director at the Children's Defense Fund, as well as Reverend Greg Kendrick he's the associate pastor at Church for All People. So they'll both speak and share some context about some of the data that's within the report. Then I'll speak and give some more information, walking through some of what we see as the highlights and key points within the report, and then we will take questions that folks might have afterwards. So with that, I'm going to hand off first to Ashon McKenzie, the policy director at the Children's Defense Fund.
Thank you. My name is Ashon McKenzie. I am the policy director for the Children's Defense Fund, Ohio. I'd like to thank One Ohio Now for inviting us to join them in the release of their State of Ohio 2017 report. CDF Ohio is a statewide nonprofit organization that champions policies and programs that lift Ohio's children out of poverty, that protect them from abuse and neglect, that ensure quality education and expand access to resources that meet children's health and nutritional needs. This is an important moment for us to work together because we can't truly look at the state of our state without taking a hard look at the state of our children. Today, as the report notes, the state of child health demands our attention. Infant mortality is a measure of the nation's overall health and social condition. And while the nation is experiencing historically low rates of infant mortality, Ohio still lags behind the national averages. According to One Ohio Now's report, we're currently 39th in the nation. We appreciate the steps our state has taken to address and approach infant mortality and reducing it, but also must acknowledge that each day that passes without us taking all of the steps and meeting all of the needs, another young life is passing. We need deeper investments into our communities to learn and continually improve our approaches. The state of child nutrition also demands our attention. Nearly 1 in 4 Ohio children suffer from food insecurity. As the report points out, 85% of hungry households with children have an adult who works. We need investments into our communities to ensure access to nutritious food is available for children both during the school year, but also throughout the summertime. In our work in child nutrition throughout the state, we ran across the story of a young boy named Bryce in Marion County. Bryce was 5 years old at the time. It was the summertime, and he was engaged in a summer meals program. And that was a fortunate thing. And Bryce each day would travel this somewhat of a long distance to engage in the program. And he had a younger sister, though, Sarah, who was only 3 years old and couldn't take the trip with us. And so one day at the program, the director found Bryce rummaging through the trash cans and asked him, well, what is it that you're doing, Bryce? What's going on? And he went and explained to her, well, yeah, my sister's at home and she's hungry. She couldn't make the trip with her. Now, fortunately, Bryce had a thoughtful director who sent a care package home to help take care of his sister, but as the report points out, this story is happening all throughout Ohio. Bryce and Sarah's story is happening all over the state. We need investments in our communities. Ohio's children need our investments. We have a responsibility to ensure our state generates the resources necessary to address our state's most pressing needs and ensure a healthy start, a safe start, a fair start, a moral start, and a successful passage to adulthood for all of Ohio's children. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So next up, Reverend Kendrick, the Associate Pastor of Church for All People.
Good morning. Reverend Gregory Kendrick Jr., and I am a United Methodist pastor serving at the United Methodist Church for All People on the south side of Columbus. The report states 1 in 7 Ohioans live in poverty, a third of which live at 200% or below of poverty. The numbers presented today in this report do a great job of painting the picture, but they do not tell the entire story. They offer a snapshot, but they do not show the systemic and cyclical nature of poverty within our state. People are working low to nearly no wage jobs, which means that their money is spent in one of 3 areas primarily: trying to put food on the table, a roof over their heads, and medicine into their bodies. Every day, people are making the choice as to what is the priority. And since access to jobs that pay a living wage is an issue, we have created an entire class of people who live in abject poverty. And due to their poverty, there's not enough to go around at mealtime. Due to the stress of trying to make it day by day, literally making life and death decisions, babies are not living to their first birthdays, teens are helping to provide and care for their families, and are not graduating from high school on time or at all. Thus, the cycle continues. This isn't the story, yes, of every family, but it's the reality of too many families that I am privileged to walk with daily. And the more I journey with them, the more I realize that we must turn the conversation from deficits and needs to that of focusing on the aspirations and the dreams. The Ohioans that I come into contact with every day aspire to jobs that will train them for new positions for the future and that will pay them a living wage. They dream of their babies living to age 1, being kindergarten ready, and graduating from high school. They aspire to have access to safe and affordable housing as well as affordable comprehensive health coverage. The Ohioans that I walk with every day dream of a future that is filled with hope and opportunity, as do we all. As a United Methodist pastor, I ascribe to the social principles of our denomination, which state that, quote, in order to provide basic needs such as food, clothing, shelter, education, health care, and other necessities, ways must be found to share more equitably the resources of the world. End quote. Our problem is not shortage. Our problem is scarcity. And the scarcity mentality that has permeated our society and being reinforced by benefactors of systemic oppression. There's more than enough, and we should use our voices to let our lawmakers know that we believe every Ohioan should be offered an equitable playing field so that their dreams, their hopes, their opportunities may one day be realized. Thank you.